G'day, I'm Troy, and this is the Comic Book Movie Collector's Guide, the show about collecting all things superhero cinema. And today we're going to take a gander at Rendel Dark Vengeance on DVD, and we're going to try and answer the question, is this an independent success or a fanboy disaster? I don't know, let's get into it. Rendel Dark Vengeance is a live-action superhero movie with a runtime of 105 minutes. The film was released in Finland on the 22nd of September 2017, with it being later released on DVD and Blu-ray by Shout Factory on the 30th of January 2018, with no 4K HD release as of this video. It was written by Pekka Lehtosaari, Miika J, and Timo Puustinen, with it being directed by Jesse Haaja. The film was produced by Black Lion Pictures, Frozen Flame Pictures and Bad Beaver Productions, and distributed by Raven Banner. The film is based on director Jesse Haaja's self-created superhero character Rendel, with his also being Jesse Haaja's first time directing a feature film. Okay, looking at the case, I don't mind this one. This looks very good, and it was very eye-catching when I first seen it. I'm like, ooh, this interests me. It's very much that dark look. It's such an eye-catching cover. I really like it. Now the spine, not too bad at all. Don't mind that. And of course the back, this looks good too. This is very with the flames and stuff. They've put a little bit of effort into this, and I don't mind that at all. Very good indeed. Now the disc is just a copy of the front cover, nothing special there, but still, at least it's a color disc, and I'm happy with that. Overall, I really like the look of this. Like I said, it's very eye-catching, definitely better than some I've seen. So I am going to give this a 7 out of 10. So the story revolves around Ramo, who is this normal, idyllic life, but ends up getting mixed up with this sinister criminal organisation who kill his wife and child when he finds out what they are up to, which of course sets him off on a one-man war as the masked superhero Rendel, fueled by his desire for revenge against the criminal organisation who killed his family.
A few moments later.
Hang on a minute, why does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, of course, that's it. Now for me, this is where the problem starts, as this is the most unoriginal story I have ever seen. Now, can someone please explain to me how the film had 3 writers on it and not one of them could come up with one piece of original story?
I got nothing.
The script felt like it was knocked up in an afternoon of watching those movies and, you know, sinking back a few long necks while they were at it, as there are plot holes galore and story arcs that just go nowhere or just get forgotten about completely. It was somehow a simple story, but a mess at the same time.
What a bloody shambles that was.
Like, one thing that stood out more than anything else is this guy is just your plain old accountant with no formal training whatsoever. And yet no sooner does he just don on a mask and call himself Rendel, all of a sudden he is this master in hand-to-hand combat who can take out a group of established top mercenaries at the top of their game in a matter of minutes, just like that, with ease. I mean, I can suspend my disbelief for these movies at the best of times, but it takes a friggin' lobotomy not to point out that that is so far-fetched it was ridiculous.
There's no way he could have done it.
Now, look, it probably wasn't totally all of the script that was at fault here, as I think the first time director, he kind of had a bit to do with it, as it was, well, let's just say he should stick to directing commercials and give the films a hard miss. Look, all I can give this is, oh God, all I can give this is 6 out of 30. Now, as far as I can tell from my research of Rendel, he doesn't feature in any comic books or have any comic book references out there, and he was primarily made for this movie. And also in the research I did for this character, I found out that the director Jesse Haaja, he created Rendel when he was a teenager, around 13 or 14. And for me, it wasn't too hard to see what influenced him when he was creating this character. So how can I put it? We kind of take one part Batman, We take 1 part Punisher, we take 1 part Crow, and we mix them all up, and then we throw him in a costume like Zoom from the Flash TV show. And there you have it, Rendel.
I didn't steal, I borrowed.
Now look, don't get me wrong, don't scream at the screen. I get it, everyone steals ideas from everyone else in comics. That's just how the industry works, I get that. But this character just feels so generic and so unimaginative. He has no real discerning features that make him different enough to, you know, to be original. And it just looks like, yeah, it was made by a 13-year-old.
He's a kid who made a mistake and he's going to pay for it.
Now, as far as the cast goes, I'll have the list up here, and most of the cast is all from Finland, so there's really no one of note here that anyone will know. And also because of the budget, there's probably really no one there of any talent either. Okay, look, maybe that's a bit harsh, but when I watched it with the English dub version, and let's just say the voiceover actors' deliveries were a little out of sync with the acting, which probably made it look worse than maybe what it was if it was in its original language. Anyway, look, with that, look, I'm only going to give this 5 out of 20. Okay, so this thing has no special features, which I'm kind of a little surprised with. Now, I know this was done on a crowd-funded budget, but I'm sure it wouldn't have cost much just to shoot some talking heads of the cast and director on making the movie. I mean, if you're crowdfunding it, you think you kind of want a little something like that. So, but anyway, look, as there is no special features, I can only give it the score of the usual 0 out of 10. Now, the critic score came in at 0%, and the audience score was just 31%. Not a great score there at all. Now, there were 2 critics' reviews, but as usual, it's not enough to register as a score for Rotten Tomatoes. But let's just say their reviews were not so great, so pretty much in line with what the audience thought of the movie too. Anyway, look, if we round it up, we're only going to get a score of 3 out of 10. Now, it's pretty amazing to me, as this movie was crowdfunded, and with there being no established fan base out there, I do not know how the bloody hell he managed to pull off raising 1.5 million euros for the budget of this movie. But what's even more surprising is that it only made $111,000 gross worldwide, which is a loss of 1.3 million euros. And on that alone, they somehow went, yeah, sure, let's make a sequel. I mean, seriously, what the? Okay, I'm sorry, I'll compose myself now. But I don't know how a movie that made a 94% loss can earn the green light for a sequel. But in saying that, the sequel has been shot already. It was shot back in September of 2019, but it is still yet to be released, which is probably a good thing.
You're not gonna show this to anyone, right?
Look, I really don't like giving bad reviews to comic book movies, but this movie made it so hard to like anything about it. From the average acting, to the poor script, to the unoriginal story, the uninspiring direction, and the fight scenes. Oh my God. These are like, your fight scenes are your backbone of any action movie. And if you can't get that right, you are dead in the water. And this movie suffers from that. As there is one scene in particular, it's kind of a great example of what I'm talking about. With Rendel, he jumps down and he jumps on this crate and he's about to fight 5 bad guys that are standing in front of him. And it looks like they're just standing there waiting for him to take his turn to hit him, just like one at a time. And instead of them just shooting and just knocking him down, he just 1, 2, and they're all just standing there just like da 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 da.
Because this is the worst thing I have ever seen.
It is just laughable at best. It was terrible. There are so many things wrong with this movie that it's just hard to pick one thing out that lets it down the most. So with that, look, I'm only going to give this a 3 out of 20. So first up is collectability, and if we look at the collector scale, I would say this would be for your completist collector, as this is, look, let's face it, there is nothing there for anyone else to watch. It is definitely just for people like me who want to have everything. It is definitely not a must-have for anyone's collection. Now, as far as availability goes, this one is very much on the common side of things, as there is no shortage of copies out there around the world for sale, so you won't have any trouble finding a copy for your collection. As far as your average price goes, you are looking at anywhere between $10 through to $35 for DVD, and of course $25 to $50 for Blu-ray. And there is nothing for 4K HD as of this video. But just a hint, if you are going to buy a copy, don't spend any more than $10, as you're really overpaying for this movie. Now, for the final score, we get a grand total of 24 out of 100. Oh my god, it's that bad it got the wah-wah sound effect. Though, this movie did earn this score for all the cinema sins that it performed up on screen. So, look, we asked the question, was this an independent success or a fanboy disaster? Yep, you guessed it, this was a fanboy disaster. This was what happens when you let a guy who directs commercials for a living make a full-length feature film about a superhero he made when he was 13.
Just doing normal, dumb teenager stuff.
So if you like this video, I've got some more reviews for you right there. Or maybe you want to see some of my collection updates. I've got you covered too. Why don't you go check out that one there. And of course, don't forget to do the most important thing. Throw me a bat like, and don't forget to hit that subscription button on the way out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.